Hey there. Alright, we're getting stuff set up on YouTube, which is new to me. I've been on Twitch for a while. This is different. Maybe I can just YouTube Studio. That's the way to do it. Huh. Oh, is there? Huh. Let's figure out. I think it should work. Yeah. Sweet. Well, I'm going. I don't know how to manage it from YouTube, but we'll find out. We'll figure that out over time. All right, so let's share this. So I'm just gonna do color work today. This is something that I've had. Well, I started this project. Oops. Cool. I started this project on the last stream, which has turned out really well. I still have a lot to get through. It kind of just has some composition control that I think I wanna work on. And I've been doing a lot of color work over the last like days. But now it's starting to come together a little bit. I just need to be able to control like how much negative space there is. And that's like a big thing for me because a lot of these like slightly empty bits kind of look better than like just a full page. But that could change. And then density also has like you can see right here that's like my scale for like how dense it is versus like oh, I don't have that code up. I just still have the script running. But anywhere from 0.004 to 0.01 is like the scaling for how like dense it is. So this is kind of on like the wider side, you know. Anyway, what I'm going to be working on today is color for this landscape project that I was doing, which is okay. And I like it, but I don't love it. And I think part of that may have to do with just like a completely empty sky, and it's really weighted down here. Part of it may just be, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what else it would be. But I'm gonna play around with it. Change the window size a little bit. So the idea of this piece is that you're in a train passing by a city. It's pretty simple, pretty easy little concept. It's just a city out of a train window. Little motion blur. Feels futuristic, feels like you're kind of somewhere not earthly, maybe. But so far, I mean, it feels good to me. There's a couple times where like there's like these floating little bits, which I think add to it almost more than they don't look like just like artifacts. They don't look like bugs. They look like, wow, I just have no idea what that could be. Or you can like leave it up to your imagination, you know? And then these streaks and things are like caused by the shader, which was a happy accident, and I'm loving like what these are capable of, you know? And that's just on the lowest Pixel density too. They get more detailed than that. Let's see. They just take a lot longer to load. Will it ever load? It's a great question. I wonder if I turned pixel density controls off for this one. Did I? So pixel density is 1. Oh, I did. I am already running it there, so it's probably let's see. That's the wrong 2. That is also the wrong project. I don't know, I have so much code up and running already. Okay. Yeah. So we'll do color, because I think, first off, a lot of these are just oversaturated from the start. So that's like, the palettes themselves are a range of like saturation, and that can be changed. I don't think that it needs to be like stuck. Like this is obviously a lot more saturated than this palette right here. And then I'm also saturating in the shader, like at the end of everything. So we've got, this is terribly organized. I was probably just scrambling through. So we'll have like a color adjust saturation somewhere. Yeah, we're adjusting it 3 times. Usually like 0 to 1 is the option. So let me pull it all the way down to 1. Although that is gorgeous and now it's gone. This feels more tame already because it lets the sky kind of not feel like it's completely out of place. It feels a little more gelled. Another thing is that I want to make this so that the sky is always one of the colors in the, well, that is just white. I want to make sure the sky is always one of the colors. I think we can not desaturate it, but we can brighten it a little bit. Maybe just brighten it by 1. I'm using chroma controls if that's something that you haven't stumbled upon or seen me use before. That feels like pretty good. I honestly could say that we don't need any saturation bump, so we're just going to comment that out for now. That, I know, worked out like to be amazing timing, but that's not because I took the saturation away. That is just like a monochrome palette. That was a little extreme. This is a little dull, so I think part of what we'll do is, so that's like the reptile. I'm sure that that is the reptile palette. Let me see. File name. Yeah. So this right here can go up in saturation a little bit. So we'll just take everything and bump it up a little bit. That's the one I just did. Or that's there. It's like our deep green. I think this brown bit, our deep red. So let's try just to like tune every palette that we can to feel somewhat. Wow, that feels really nice right now, actually. Let's tune everything to feel a little better. I don't know what happened to our gradient. Is it because it's so dark? It may just be that I was dealing with everything as like one. I mean, it feels good, but it doesn't feel like what it could feel like. So I have this gradient running from top to bottom, and it was exponential because that seemed to help, but where it's lighter up here and darker down here, and then for the nighttime I can flip darker to lighter. So like nighttime would be like this. which does feel really good right now, especially on this palette, which is kind of a little dingier. I don't know if dingy is the right word, but yeah, so we'll leave this daytime for a while because I think that should be like the main event. I almost like want to like darken it a little bit towards the bottom, so like negative 0.02. Yeah. And it depends on the color that's coming through too, because like, or maybe we mix it with white. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So instead of like relying on a color to, sometimes we'll have these really dim dark colors and we'll lift them up. And sometimes it'll start from like already pretty bright, like right here. So by the time it hits the midpoint, it's already at as white as it can go. So we will mix the color with white. So instead of it just exposure, yeah, we'll do mix, make, color equals mix, textp.hb, or sorry, color.hb with background color.rgb. And we will map it from, use the Y value, 0.0 and 1.0. 0.0 will be, what's that? Color 0. VGC is 1, so 1.0. 0.0? Let's see if that does it for us. That kind of gives it more of a sandstorm look. Let's make this exponential so it is really just like a fade at the top. So power of, let's just square it for now. Or wait, we were doing square root, but you know. Let's see. Okay, well maybe that's not it. I mean, it does feel good, and it feels like it's almost a little more blended, and we can probably add a little contrast. There's a function I wrote where we can add like a little bit of a curve. But I think getting that gradient right for now will be the best thing we can do. So at the top, it should be completely white. I wonder what's happening here. Color to background color. So it should be color, background color up here. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. 0 to 1. Nope, I was backwards. Or I was not backwards. I was totally right. That's what we should all take away from this. I'm right. Well, we're also stuck on like just this one palette for right now, which is, it's okay. It's a little dull. How is it not mixing? Maybe we don't have black as our background color. I might have, oh yeah, sorry, yeah. We'll just call it white. And then we can swap that out whether we want day or night. Super easy. It is getting color, background color, and then we're sending it through the shader here. That should be right. Maybe we'll just do Vec3 1.0 and it should be white. Yeah, cool. That's much better. I don't think that it needs to be as sharp. Yeah, we wanted that kind of fade at the top, so it really just feels like a U. That's a little funky to balance. Maybe at the bottom it won't be 1.0. Maybe it'll be like 1.5. Or sorry, maybe it won't be, we'll do negative 0.5. I don't know how that'll work when it comes to the shader math. Oh, it will add a lot of contrast. I've learned just now. Interesting. I mean, this is something. I just don't think it's perfect. That feels kind of nice. Okay. Well, this palette feels good. It feels like realistic, which is what I want this series to feel like. I want it to feel a little bit surreal, so maybe like pops of like wild colors that you may not be like earthly colors. They feel a little bit digital. They feel a little bit wrong, a little off, a little surreal. Um, let's try another palette. So let's go to just do bubblegum, I guess, because we just work our way from the bottom to the top. It looks really solid. One of the things that I am trying to abide by with this is kind of use like a standard like color, like a standard color, very very minimal comic color layout. So we'll do a like two warm and a cool, or two cool and a warm colors. So we've got what, like another shade, so that's two colors here, and then this. So honestly, I don't know if like three warm colors. I might do another shade of blue instead of leaving the yellow in. But I love the yellow and the pink. Oof. It feels good with the red. We can honestly desaturate those too, so it helps the background pop a little bit. So the color's there, but it's not like taking over. I don't want the sky to be the star of the show, I guess. Even when it's, oh, that's the red that's desaturated. Ooh, excuse me. I honestly think I like this where it is. Yes, especially the silhouettes in this. That blue might honestly be okay to like saturate a little bit, because I think it just comes across as almost white. It's just a cool white. That with just like a completely empty sky feels nice. Yeah, this is like, sorry, like taking a step back, try and see it from a distance. This is maybe lacking compositionally, I think. It's more like where the colors start to blur, but honestly, that feels really nice. I wonder if, so I've already got like a negative contrast kind of going on with these, where it kind of washes them out a bit. So I'm wondering if washing them out further would be nicer. Then we don't have quite as black blacks, and then we can darken, or not black blacks or white whites, but we can always just adjust those endpoints and let everything else kind of blend a bit more. Like this feels honestly really clean. Something about it like makes me think Mirror's Edge. Futurism, minimal, clean, bright colors, but they're only bright because they're in such like a monochrome space. Okay, I think that that's pretty nice. And then we'll do color plus equal color.hp, or we'll make an average, or do we already have an average value? We don't. So average will just be like the average brightness of everything. So it'll be like colored, our red channel, blue channel, and green channel all averaged out, and then it'll just be brightness. Oof. I wish I had that kind of speed in my fingers. That, oh yeah, I don't need to do that. I wish I had that speed in my fingers that like watching something like a coding train. It's just like blah, blah, blah. As I'm thinking it, I would be able to type it, but we're taking our time. So we'll do average. Oh man. All right, so we want to darken the darkest parts only. We just want darker blacks, I think, for right now. Although I love the grays. We might just want to whiten the whites. What do we have here? Just to like see how white is our white. I mean, that's like pure white. This is 230, but we can let this be pure white, you know? We can brighten it up a little bit, make it feel a little more digital. Either way, we'll play with our white and our black points, and it'll help, hopefully, it'll make things feel a little better. And maybe we don't even need this contrast, we just have like white and black control points. So we'll, the average, which is just brightness, we'll just call it bright. Because it is the average, but in the end, it's brightness. So we'll go from 0.0, which is black, to 1.0, which is white. If it's black, we want to raise it 0.1. And if it's white, we want to raise it 0.1, or sorry, lower it 0.1. Yeah, and then we want to do plus 0.1. So we'll just change our control point a little bit. I mean, that's pretty good. So then it's spreading everything out, but then just... So it's like taking everything, shifting it towards the edges, and then moving where the edges are. It's kind of weird to think about curves like that. Because also, I was like wondering if like, is my contrast already doing exactly what I'm doing? But this just has more control as to where our white and black point are. Because if we want our black point to be way, way lower, then bam, we have a much lower black point. But I think that looks gross. So we can also raise our black point and then keep our white point at the same point. Or lower our white point, go super low contrast. That kind of gets into like a nice smoky foggy city. I like the low contrast for that purpose. And we can even like lift the blacks even more for that. Nice foggy look. I think 2 was probably better. And then maybe the 1. Leave our white point like almost brighter. Let it be totally foggy. I kind of like what's going on here. Leave our white point alone. Just like the blacks. It does feel good, and then I think it starts to lose the pop. So I think at that point is where you benefit from adding a little bit of saturation. It almost works like we had that earlier, but we wanted to come in after. So add saturation. We'll just do like a couple of points. So 0.2. And we're only saturating the foreground. We want to leave the background. Okay. Does that feel better this way? Do we want super saturated colors with our milky blacks? That feels pretty solid. Especially love the, well, from a distance. How far can I zoom this out? Not at all. It'll always just fit. It just changes the shadow of my CSS. All right, well, leave it as it is. Okay. That feels nice. I like this palette. I think sitting at a little bit of a color boost is good. I think that that's a good control point, and that's just like to compensate for this, so it's not like we shouldn't have to go back and change our reptile palette. It should also stay just about the same saturation, which it does. It's about right. Yeah. All right, so let's try the concrete one. I actually don't even remember if I like this palette. But we'll see. It does have a bit of that like kind of sci-fi dull. This feels good with the blue, but I think there might be too much mixed into it. Too many dull colors that don't feel like it has any life. And if like for some reason one of the buildings, like I want to leave at least like 3 of the colors to be like a good, not quite like a primary or like always the highlight, but I want to leave 3 of the colors so it has like a 3 out of 5 chance, more than half chance of ending up with a color that I like as the sky, or to fill out a lot of the buildings, and then leave some of the supporting players like this behind. That's for these palettes that are like mixed. What I'm about to try, I guess, is Rust, which is purposefully monochrome. And I think feels really solid just playing with like one hue, a couple different shades, and some highlights, lowlights. I like that a lot. I think especially fitting into this like sci-fi deal, that feels really good too. I love that there is like kind of a gray going on. Maybe it's the desaturation. Maybe we leave the desaturation off. That may be it. It feels really good. Okay. Rust is already in a good place. I think with that little bump of saturation that we already have, which just kind of balances out to nothing, we're good. Rust, we'll do pop, which is like a really, really saturated palette, if I remember correctly. Yeah, let's pull that down. Like I love this blue. It doesn't need to live there. This green, nice green. We could probably go like lower with this one. Oh, that is already the higher one. We'll go lower with this. We'll make this more of a supporting player, and then we'll have a bright highlight. This orange is a nice orange. It's very tangerine-y. And then this is already pretty low, but we'll let it be a supporting player as well. So there's our 3. We'll let the orange, green, and blue be our 3 like main players. And it already feels so much more like balanced. I love this little pop of that lime green. I don't love the lime green in the sky. I'm gonna be totally honest. We can maybe come down on it a little bit and let this be our only high saturation color. That blue does feel good. I mean, the blue obviously in the sky is correct, but this feels just okay, you know? I think it's a little too widespread. I think we're trying to hit too much going on. I mean, we have a cool and a blue, or cool and a blue, a cool and a warm, 2 cool, 1 warm, and just different shades of this. I think that we honestly need to just shift more red with this one to kind of match the other. So we'll do like 2 shades of this same color, and this one can just be darker. Wait. Yeah. This is the one I'm changing. It can be darker. So we've got 2 shades, same hue. We had one too many hues in there, I think. I mean, that feels good. This could be brighter. That green is a lot more bearable. I'm still not like huge on it being the background color, but we'll see. This one can also be brighter. So these will more like define our shape a little bit, highlight and shadow. This green can be deeper. I'm like not totally in love, but it feels better. It feels more tame. I like a highlight of blue there. I like most of the colors when they hit the sky, except for that lime green. Cool. All right, sunset should be good. I think this is already a pretty well balanced palette. It's just like oranges and pinks. It's like all warm. That feels amazing. Sunset, 10 out of 10. Wait, sorry, 10 out of 10. Feels weird to have that right next to it. Yeah, that's great. I also like having this border just a little thicker, yeah. Maybe we'll do just like 1.5 times. We just want like, how do we combine like full city to where like it feels like broad, like huge, like you're passing by some sort of like proper landscape, but like without it being you know, too chopped off by the window. So like the two things we're accomplishing here is big wide landscape, obviously, and then also through the window. Honestly, well, this feels amazing, kind of Titanic energy right here. Do I want this to be a big wide landscape, or can I live with this being just a chunk, like just a small, like you're shooting with like a 100mm lens, just like very consolidated? Because we have all that blur, and that blur wouldn't totally be there with a wide angle. Maybe I'm being too realistic with like photo, like optics, but I want this to feel convincing and feel like there's like weight and movement. So we could get rid of, I'm doing this thing in the shader where I curve the image as it goes with like a sine wave. So it's lifting some of the buildings up so that there's like a warp for what's closer to you and what's like farther out, to kind of account for like a wide angle bit. But we don't need that. So that's right here. Now it'll be a lot flatter. I mean, this feels, to be honest, like, I just need to remember that like those are the two that I was using. That feels good. Like it feels solid. It feels a lot easier to like attain. I kind of liked my warp because it was like new, like I hadn't seen anything exactly like that before, and it's like such a subtle little effect. You get a little scoop. But it does kind of make it seem like it's much wider. But this just feels like I kind of stacked some blocks and threw a shader on it, you know? It's like those small things that make the difference. Like I wouldn't want this, like if I bought an edition of this, like I would not like the fact that I got this output. It just feels too plain. I mean, that's what we're here to fix, and there's other things we can change about it, but I think that's okay. But then like, you know, throw a little warp, a little dynamic. I mean, compositionally that just came out better also, but even these flat ones feel a little better with a little curve. Just feels much nicer. I like this pink. Just big pop. Also, Sunset, no notes. It's just it's a great palette. Reptile we already did. Let's see Racer, which is a good like warm cool with a cream. I guess the cream is a little cooler, and that was like no warm colors involved in that at all. See, that's like it's just getting 3 of the 5 here. I wonder what my am I doing a LUT? Do I have a LUT running these? I don't remember, because I did go back and forth for a long time. Yeah, I don't have a LUT. This is just like straight up color. I went back and forth on it for a while because it was creating a lot of like artifacting, which was cool, but not great. Like here, I'll show you potentially what it would look like with a LUT. Oh. Well, that's just like monochrome again. I think we landed on no, or no. What's going on here? Oh, this palette is mono. Yeah, I don't know what I did here. This pal. We'll do Kohl scale. I was doing a monochromatic palette for a while, I guess, for some reason. See, it creates all this like artifacting, which is like wonky. It's just like little pixely meh. I don't like it. I think that it's not worth doing, and I think just the color was working better. Oops, my bad. I mean, it's a good palette. I think it could use a little more color in the blues. So we'll get Eraser. Just a touch of saturation. Just feels too gray. And I like that there's like a highlight on the reds, but yeah, that feels a little better, a little richer. Little richer, little Richard. Feels decent. Compositionally, I need to fix this. I don't like the fact that there's this. We could probably have more color in that so it doesn't come out quite so white. That feels nice. I love especially the shadow we're getting here. Kind of shaping everything a little bit more. I like this. Alright, Racer's good. Go back to color. Let's see. Racer, Magma. Magma's kind of like a more saturated rust, so we'll see. That's really intense yellow. I want to come down on that saturation just for this one. Ugh, I don't know if I like that. I think I might just want to copy this one. And then we'll just desaturate it maybe a little darker. Wow, that is not a good color. Hold on. We'll leave it saturated. Where were we? Let me try this again. Starts here. That's a huge change, just like being next to it. Alright, so the lemony-ish orangey yellow, that's like kind of weird that it comes out of that. That's yellow. I can see why, because you're just lightening it, but That feels like a good, strong red palette. And then we'll do berry. Berry is already super, super saturated, so we'll have to come down on that a little bit. Maybe. Maybe not. I think because they're so dark and so rich already, that it's kind of like fading them out. Because, I mean, it's down. Wow, no, I guess that's pretty bright. But, like, these are pretty dark. It feels good. Like, it doesn't feel, like, overwhelming. I guess saturation is kind of like... It's tough. You're playing with color because... This scale, just, like, left to right, is not, like, what the human eye sees. Like, some colors are going to be more saturated or brighter. There's a bunch of curves that try to make sense of it and stuff like that, but there is no like calculating human an exact science for that. All right, the purple needs to come down and just in saturation. Bring it there, and then to feel kind of similar in tone, we'll leave it there so it's just more dull. Does this feel good? That feels better as a background. That feels nice. I don't think we need a black, since we already have black mixed into the palette, so we'll go with a darker purple as well. Yeah, I think that feels really good. Adds a little more depth. Oh my god, that rich, deep purple right here. I love that. Okay. Alright, berry I like. And we'll come back in the end also. Alright, earth is like a pretty... Ooh, excuse me. Like sci-fi color. This feels nice. I mean, and the only thing this has that's like kind of saturated is like that bluey teal that's right here, but it's like the most saturated. It honestly could come up a bit just to pop a touch, but I don't think it has to. This palette was definitely like, I think those like sci-fi desert graphic novel illustrations you see. Yeah. I mean, I'm already kind of just a fan of this palette. It doesn't have a lot of notes from me. It's good. Let's see. Mono. I mean, mono is mono. Mono, e-mono. It's just gonna be good, no matter what. Love it. Strong compositions. Make all of it. No need for color. Above mono we have mutant, which is it's a wonky one. It's one that really fucks with me, you know. It technically is breaking the rule, but it's like it does a good job of it. It's got 3 different warm hues, but I think it works. Typically, it might just need to go down in saturation a little bit. It might not work when it's like lower saturation though, so we'll see. We'll take everything down just a touch. Oof, that is up there. In tone, try to keep it around the same, but just lower saturation. Cool. All right, let's try it. That feels good. I think especially this is kind of showing off everything all at once, and nothing is like... The orange is the spotlight. I love this as like almost a shadow color. It's a little deeper. That's a good pairing. Like, I think the thing that's nice about that kind of like mixing only 3 colors is that everything kind of will pair together if you kind of choose wisely. 3 hues. I like this. Alright, so what are our palettes right now? We want mutant. We like mutant. Monochrome. What do we not have in there? Oh yeah, test B, which test B is more like a... I mean, it's a test. It is just like a bunch of colors that I threw in there. It typically works really well. That's kind of why I haven't touched it. It typically is just like... It's a lot, but it's tame. Somehow. Like, you know? Everything works in here. I guess I don't need the black and white in there. Because it's already kind of choosing black and white. Sometimes. Yeah, that feels good. Also, let me make sure. So in here, when we build a wall, don't mind me. This is shake and scratch code and things commented out everywhere. So on the wall itself, it's just choosing. Oh, I have it 100% of the time. We'll do 0.5 for right now. See what happens. So half the time it picks. Oh my god, that looks gorgeous. Just clean, minimal. Half the time it picks a black or white, just like a grayscale value. Half the time it picks a color. I mean, that makes it like less busy. It also has less chances of showing all the colors in one piece, so it might not get too colorfully busy, but it also might be a downside, you know? I do like this bit. Just having a little bit of like breathing room, so it's not just like all color thrown at you. That is Pepsi. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. Big fan. Alright, let's go ahead and just have everything free reign. Just like go for it. Fucking full scent. Oh, and we're gonna have to see what every palette is. It's okay, looking at it small means that... Oh no, I'm not reporting. This kind of like taking a step away, you know? This is kind of like looking at it from across the room. Because it's really down there. It's really not. We can just even just put it... It's like seeing it from like the other side of the museum, 3 stories up. How's that feel? You know? That makes me feel good. Hold on. Oh, it's really minimal, but from a distance. Feels nice. It's really minimal. The mutant palette strikes again. I love these big, like one big piece in the back that maybe has like paneling on it from the buildings in front, or like the shadows of the building in the front. Feels really nice. I do also want to adjust that sky curve a little bit while we're at it, and we'll keep thinking about palettes while we're doing it. Where is our... Oh no. Top to bottom gradient, there we go. So instead of doing 0.5, we'll do 0.4. Let's see if that cuts just a little lower. Oh, well, first off, that feels really good and somehow didn't put any color on any of the buildings. That's nice. Cool. I did save that, yeah? I did. Cool. Monochrome looking great as always. Focus on the details. Love this huge building. What's that kind of I'm probably not gonna think of it and nobody's gonna answer, but what's the it's that kind of building like in Minority Report maybe, where you have like it's one giant mega structure that everybody lives inside. There's like a fancy name for it. Probably Latin. Could be. You never know. That feels good. This image is like the kind of thing that made me name this palette what I named it. Does that make sense? This feels like race car somehow. Maybe more like pod racing. This feels swampy. It's not necessarily bad, not necessarily good. I think it's a little green. Bracer's great again. Mutant, great again. Maybe a little saturated still. Oh god, the yellow in Tespe maybe needs to go away. Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna probably change this to like an orange instead of a yellow. So we'll just air towards like a peach. We'll try Tespe again, hold on. Yeah. I think with the orange feels better. It's not like greenish, scary puke yellow. All right, let's see. I like that. Yeah. Just a little warm shifted to the yellow. Warm shifting to the yellows is good. I'm good with that. And then we'll adjust this because I went the wrong way. Really. It should be 3.6. Just a little more fade to the top. Cool. And then at the very bottom, yeah, it can be 0.1. I think it was probably pretty good where it is. That feels really nice. And that's still Tespe. It's just like using a lot of grayscale. Cool. I think I like this a lot. Just where we are right now. Ooh, let's try let's try nighttime. So it mixes it with black. I mean, with tons of light pollution, it seems right. That's pretty cool. I feel like with nighttime we need it to be lower. Is this even making much of a difference? Hold on. I guess kind of. What difference does it make during the daytime, actually? That I think is as low as, that's like as low as I wanted it to go. But it seemed like it was chopping off buildings, yeah. I mean, it's not the worst. Alright, we're gonna call a time val. We're gonna do a day and a night mode. So I'm just gonna uniform the value over from JavaScript. And first of all, that blue is gorgeous. Berry is such a nice palette. I love this little tiny little streak of purple. Feels so nice. Okay, let's see. Let's uniform. It was time val. This random integer. Start one. Well, I guess, yeah, we'll call a value time val because we also want stars, I think. Oops. Oh yeah, because time val doesn't exist. Yeah. Time val equals. Yep. Cool, so day and night is totally fine. Yeah. I also want to see about the blur going up. See what things look like when I actually ramp things up to like 0.5. Still great. I think it's possible for a composition to kind of come out lacking here, but honestly, let's go back to 200 and see if just the window being much wider feels better. Kind of. Like, I do wonder if like there's just no margin. Oh, let's get rid of our the rounding. Oh, where did I do this? Oh, it's right here. That feels incredible. Actually, kind of love this just huge. Honestly, I think this somehow has a better. Wow. This somehow has a better like feeling of like compression than giving it a border, because giving it a border gave it room to breathe, but the point of the window was to try and like limit it so that you kind of like knew the context you were in. But this is really, this makes you feel a little more in. I think I love this. Let's see. Oh yeah, changing the speed back down to the lowest speed. I'm in love. I think not giving it the context of like top and bottom, you know, giving it that border. This is perfect. I never wanted, I don't want anything different. Like, let's just like not look at our palette for a while. Just look at this full scale. I can't get it any bigger. Can I do this? Oh man, even like completely pulled back. Okay, well, we'll get it a little bigger. Here, let me change this too. On my stream, my camera's in the way. That's not even that important. I don't know why it was so big this whole time. I don't think I've ever run with it that big. I like this. I think this feels a bit better. Especially like this. Wow. And then let's do the blur again, just 0.5. These feel amazing to me. just the complete streaky ones. This is the way. I almost feel like I want to add a little bit of saturation for the blurry ones. Does that make sense? Like, when you have less of an idea of what's going on, you kind of want it to be more abstract and more poppy. But like when things are more rigid and you can see what's going on, you don't need like all this pop glowy color. So let me do a map so that we saturate the palette a little bit. Yeah. So the train speed from 0.1 to, yeah. When it's nothing, we want 0. We might saturate 1 amount. And then we'll do that on our build wall. If it's a color, we'll do saturate. Set amount. So for these, shouldn't do anything. For when the train's running at 0.5, it should be more saturated. I think I like that. Let's see what it looks like when we do too. In this context, holy shit. I'm taking that one. I think it needs to be, I think I love that pop saturation on the blurry ones. And then if we're just at 0.1, the most static, oh my god, I didn't save that. That was great. I missed it, but oh no. All right, so just normal, regular roll, minimal blur, just kind of passing by, low speed. I like this one. I do need to change it so that like, ooh, that looks good too. I'm gonna change it so that we have a little more control over how far this goes down, because in the daytime it seems to cut down lower, mixing to white versus mixing to black. So we'll just have 2 conditionals. If time val is daytime, oops, then we'll have it do it one way, else we'll do it the way we're doing it now. So I think originally we had it at, what, the 0.05 or 0.75. So this is the daytime version. Daytime, nighttime. And we're gonna do 0.75. It's probably good. Oops, give me... That feels nice. Daytime, please. Yeah, that feels nice. I think that just like raising it up just a hair. Cool. Yeah. Let's go ahead and just like set our set it to a random value again. Just kind of see this whole piece in action for good. Holy shit, that feels cool. Saving that. I love how this does start to feel a little more gold right here. I don't really love this green here, but it's okay. I think it fits, but it doesn't. God, I think I might need to have some, like all of these roll faster. I don't know if I like the static versions as much as the blurry ones. But then like you get this, and I like this, and that's pretty static. So we'll see. Yeah. I'm a big fan of this piece. I mean, it's like really close to ready for like as ready as it's gonna be. I don't want to mess with like too much, to be honest. Um, wow, the berry palette. So just like easily recognizable, you know? Jesus. Oh yeah. Let's see. Cool. Okay. Well, I like what's going on here. I think I lost some of the texture that was in the sky originally. Might need to go like up the density there. So we have the canvas texture, yada yada. If it is color plus equal, do 0.5. So sort of there. Might have to come up double. That's so blue. Wow. Holy shit. Do we need to just like it only can make color 25% of the time? That might be the way. I think would make these feel a lot more balanced, especially the more blurred. It'll make it feel less like color. That still somehow nailed it. Let's see. Cool. I think I want to desaturate the background a little bit still. I think it's been taking over a few of these. And if we want those like these little bits of color to pop the most, then yeah, having a little bit of desaturation in the background would be better. Maybe we won't brighten at all. We just do 0 and then we desaturate twice. That feels cool, that big pink streak, but wow. So much happening there. Yes. We can bring our black point down just a touch, maybe. There's our black point. I mean, what's it look like at no adjustment? Whoa. Deep and rich, I think may be the way. Let's do negative 0.1. Because it is already raised up a little bit from the saturate or from the contrast adjustment. Ew. Okay. That's really vivid. Then we don't need to mess with this adjust saturation, so maybe like 0.1, but wow. Wow. That is gorgeous. I'm in love with that one. I'm keeping it. I do think the addition of like a super, super dark portion does make it feel nice. Instead of having lifted blacks, we'll just crush them. How far can we crush the blacks? Let's just like... We'll start big, and then we'll, yeah, that's too much. 0.2. I mean, that feels kind of cool. 3. How far can we push it? That looks gorgeous. It depends on the palette, I guess. With this orange, fantastic. If that's the case, let's see. I think that we should probably brighten a little bit. If we're gonna keep it darker down here, then there needs to be some separation here. So we'll have to brighten a little bit. We can maybe leave the saturation back, but we'll see. Ooh. I love this bit. These feel really solid. This feels like a cruise ship. I don't like that color, but the rest feels solid. What palette is this? Because it's affecting the color too, I'm sure. Is it bubblegum? Oh, that's that yellow, huh? It's that yellow. Oh no. I love it, but I hate it right now. Maybe we'll do we need to like hardcore curve this black point so it's not affecting much that's like just above black. We just want the blacks to be down low. So we'll do brightness. Or not map. Power. 2.0 I think would do it. I honestly will never remember like which direction an exponential curve goes. I think that if we're in a positive number or over 1, then it'll go quickly up. And if you do something later, then it'll drag before it hits 1. We'll see. Let's just exponent of 5. Leaves colors pretty intact, but the blacks are black. That looks good. Yeah. It's feeling good. I've been finding myself liking like a darker feeling lately. Not always going so like bright colors on white. I'm avoiding my pop art tendencies and I think it's really working out. But I do love these like high intensity. Oof. Super high contrast with these pops of color. I mean, that's basically pop art. We'll see if this can work out. I wonder if that contrast is like killing me at all. Is it good without that? I don't know. I mean, that feels really good. What if we like really kill the contrast and then like just adjust the black point? So I think that's what we'll give it, the foggy vibe. And then we'll do the 0.5 when we get to black. Oh my god. We need that at 5. So 10. 4. Or 0.35 maybe. Whoa. Killer. This feels really good. We don't need a high black or a high white point, I think, in the foggy especially. I kind of like the nighttime ones the most. But that does feel good. Why do I keep trying to make something average and then I feel like I always love it? Not to say that like I always somehow like make something amazing. Like this may not, you know, it's not always like an art blocks quality thing that I'm making. Like probably not this, but this is like way different, way more interesting than the last, like, you know, what I thought that this was. Going into this session even, it's way different. It honestly feels like yeah, just the more you polish something, like anything can be good. I thought this was just like a bunch of blocks coming from the bottom. I thought this was like a landscape and it was like just gonna be gross, you know? Not gross, but you know, like landscapes are landscapes. So easy, you make it landscape, you put something in the lower third or the lower half, you put some stuff in the sky. Ah, I need to make stars for nighttime. Alright, pools. Do I want stars? They would have to be like really low alpha, so we'll do that. I don't know what shrinking was for. Couldn't tell you based on what this is about. We'll do function stars. Just a for loop. Let's do like 1,000. It'll probably be what it needs. That goes 0.55. And then fill. Oops. Little crema, val. Alpha. So we just want them to be like pretty, you know, they're not going to come through that much. Honestly, I just thought about it. Oh no, the background is run based on the shader, so I wonder what's going to happen when the stars go there. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Random value. 0 in width, and random value between 0 and height. Stroke weight. 0.5 and like 3. Let's try to run stars before anything. So clear passes, rows. Oh my god, where am I even drawing anything? In the draw section would probably be helpful. Drawing things right here. Build city. Build stars before we build city. That's some classic landscape stuff for you. Oh, the stars. Just do stuff from back to front. Pretty easy. I don't think these stars are showing themselves. I might be too low alpha. What if they're just one? Am I drawing on B? Or... I'm sorry. Texture... Oh, I do want them to be on B, so maybe that's the thing. That's cool. That, unintentionally, I love that. Thought I was making stars. Turns out, I'm not. I want them to be super low alpha, though. I guess they're going to, like, no matter what alpha they are, they're going to show up as something that's not background color. So the shader's going to handle them the same way. Interesting. Okay, well, how do I handle that? I guess we draw them not on B, but we draw them on P. That looks fantastic. We'll draw them on B. We'll do like 100, just so there's only a little bit of like streakiness going on. I think I like this. Maybe we'll put them on P. So just to be clear, like our P layer is where the buildings are being drawn. But the, how big can we just make them to make them show up? Drawing 1,000, like 20 pixel circles, and they're just like nowhere to be found. Maybe we do higher alpha now. Still nothing. No stars in the sky. There's just too much pollution. I like that. All right, well, I will find a solution for oof. That feels strong. I will find a solution for goddamn, the stars somehow. Might have to take a while to think on that one. For now, I mean, I'm pretty in love with this, to be honest. I might adjust some things, like I think in the shader we had it going to a negative brightness at the bottom, and I think I need to adjust that. Oh no, I didn't. Interesting. All right, so that's different. Yeah, so in the nighttime, we want it to come down to negative 0.1, maybe? Yeah, that looks more legible. You can still see what's going on, but it's still dark. Yeah, that feels good. Well, sorry, that's daytime. Which is where it was more intense. We're going to do daytime. My god, I'm losing my ability to speak. Time value is 1. Okay, so daytime has at 0.1, I think that's a good level. I'll go back on the shader. It is super foggy in the daytime, which I think is okay, especially in these, like, you're going up against black. So, like, when it's detracting or mixing it towards white, obviously black's the furthest from white, so it's going to have, like, less of an effect, but for some of those lighter color buildings, I'm kind of worried. That it just goes, like, it fades all the color away. It's not even just that, like, it fades, you know? do like this. That feels like a train. Let's try to do, instead of that, for the daytime, we'll start at... Oh, for the daytime, we'll start... It's at like a -2. Whoa. That gives me a good, oh my god. What is it, non-spaces? Non-spaces. Gosh. Maybe it's not this one, but maybe it's kind of this one. Just like having things elevated. Yeah, more like this, where you have like a singular like platform that everything is like cantilevered on. Yeah, that's what this feels like. This is very far removed, I guess, but it struck the same chord in my head. What are we doing? We're darkening this bottom part a little bit so that this doesn't get as extreme. Daytime can also be 0.5, so it's like lifted up. There we go. Let's do 0.6. Let's try to fix where this line is. Cool. Oh yeah, it would be 1.0, 0.0. And I like these. They get a lot more... This is a lot more dark of a project than it was before. Ugh, the purple. Yeah, I like this going in a more abstract direction. I like these more, like the faster speed trains. Though I love like when there is like some structure to the buildings, like I want some meow in my life, you know? Like compared to the like almost completely static buildings at this level. I mean, that feels good. But the blur with like, especially I guess a bit more saturation. Maybe the saturation is just 2. Maybe I just need to come up a little bit and just say that like, that is good. Maybe it's just because it's so dark, it needs that saturation to really come out. That feels wonderful. So it was just that the saturation works best because I had the saturation mapped to be working on the faster ones. Okay. Okay. And let's just, you know, let's randomize that speed again. And let's do rule of threes, you know, or rule of thirds, kind of. Not actually, but a third of the buildings will be colorful. Kind of works. I think I did like the 0.25 better. I think that's ideal. Oof. God, that color is just great. That looks good. Love this building. Cool. I mean, for now, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. This is like very close to something that I would release. I think I just need to work out some of these like compositional elements when it comes to the walls, the buildings themselves. just to add a little more variety. So we have some denser, smaller bits, and then maybe like bigger buildings mixed together instead of like having some times where it kind of gets all dense or all minimal. I'm gonna fix some of those things. So cool. I mean, that's it. Thanks for hanging with me on this one. This is you know, you decided to come hang out on YouTube versus Twitch. I don't know if there's a reason that you did it, or just because that's because just let me know if you're following me on Twitter or you found things through Twitter. Let me know if you found it easier to watch this happen, or you would rather have this paired with all the other videos and things that I have saved on YouTube. So let me know. Cool. Bye.